Welcome to LinkedUp, Breaking Boundaries in Education, a podcast that focuses on what is happening in education today, connecting everyone to the movers and shakers that are breaking boundaries in the education arena.
Welcome to LinkedUp, Breaking Boundaries in Education. Jerri, we always love when someone comes to visit us again, and we have our friend Serena with us again. I'm so excited.
It's been a minute since we have seen her, but we had so much fun with her at the Women in Technology Summit in San Diego. And then we see her at different events like COSN across the country. And we always have all of our guests linked together, come together and meet. And it's always a pleasure to see Serena. But Jamie, I think that's the reason we haven't talked to her lately. For the show,
Right.
she was telling me she's written a new book and she has helped on 2 other books. She's building a house and she has a new job.
Sometimes we have guests and we get to do other things with them. I feel like the guest is a friend, and that's the way I feel about Serena. I feel like you're a friend, and I love that.
That's how I feel about you both.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So nice. I want to start talking about your book because I feel like not only do I feel like you're a friend, but also a mentor. And I think there's a good reason for that because that's what your book is all about, isn't it?
It is. It was meant to help inspire and support emerging and existing leaders. And it's very vulnerable. Sometimes I'm wondering whether I put too much out there, but when people tell me how much it's helped them, that my sharing has helped them reconcile something, I know it was worthwhile. Empowered. How frame your narrative, own your power. And I talk about what that title means, if you want me to.
I would love to hear that.
So it's funny because my publisher didn't really want me to call it that, but as I was writing, that's just what kept coming out, is that we have to empower ourselves. We have to be empowered. And the way we do that is by framing our own narrative. So instead of saying, oh, this happened to me, you say, I overcame, so that you claim being the victor instead of the victim.
Oh, I love
Make yourself the hero of your own story. And, we all know victims and they suck the air out of the room, and that's not good for anybody. So if we can own our power by taking responsibility for whatever happened, whether it was our fault or not, but know that we get to choose how we respond and how we define ourselves and how we claim our success. So it is really about empowering oneself and creating a life that you desire and you choose, and you get to decide how you show up. And don't let whatever anybody said or did, even if it was a parent or a boss, you get to decide who you are and how you show up. They don't define you.
Yeah. That's so important to be intentional about that.
Right.
Because otherwise you can let it overtake you. And I think that's the point that you're saying here, is that you need to own it, and you need to, that you can overcome that. And I love the way you phrased it, to become the victor as opposed to the victim. That's fantastic. So not easy either.
No, I'm not saying this is easy. And, life is a series of ups and downs, both personal and professional. And I think it's since the pandemic that's merged a lot. It used to be we kept our personal life very private and we did our job. And since the pandemic, when we're invited to people's homes and we see their children and their pets, and, there's just a lot more merging. And sometimes, our kids are doing homework when we're working and they're running around. And then so when they're asleep, we go back to work. And there's more of this recognition of us as full people. And with that, I say that they affect each other. If you have a bad day at work, it's hard when you get home to focus completely on your kids. And when you have a bad day at home, sometimes it distracts you from work, or sometimes work is the distraction and it's good. So, they do interact with each other. And so the book intentionally talks about both my personal and my professional life and how I've overcome challenges. I think when you say that you own it and you aren't blaming someone else, that really does give you more power. It does. I can see why that continued to emerge as you talk about that.
Wow.
Because it lets you have the power to, like you said, define who you are and how you're moving forward. You are always very dedicated to women. Is this book specifically for women, or is it for everyone? So when you write a book, your editor, your publisher will tell you have to have an audience in mind. If you say, oh, it's for everyone, they'll say, no, no, no. Who's your audience?
Right.
And so I pictured 30, 35, 40-year-old female in technology kind of trying to find her way. However, when I talk about the book, and I have gone to many conversations about the book in public, it's often the men in the room that come up and say, oh my gosh, this was so helpful. And my theory is that men don't usually have these conversations. They're talking with their buddies about sports and
Right.
and whatnot, and having a beer with them, or whatever, and that's fine. But they don't talk about, we overcome a lot of stuff, and it's okay. It's not like anything to be ashamed of if somebody did this or that, and then I overcame it. And men love that message because maybe they're comfortable doing that too, and women love it because they're like, oh, that's what I have to do for us. So although it's written with women in mind, because I happen to be a woman, the messages and the lessons and the stories are not gender specific.
Well, I bet the vulnerability that you allow yourself to give in the book helps with that aha moment that readers have. Have you seen that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, and honestly, it has been difficult. I lost family member relationships over it. It's hard. Some people are, don't want those exposed, those nastiness exposed. At the end, it's all about love. And no matter how my parents were or weren't, they did the best they could. And I love them. I take care of my mother now. I was there for my father's last breath and my stepfather's last breath. Doesn't mean they were perfect human beings, but I love them. And so at the end of the day, regardless of what happened, I love them. And that's what comes through.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so important.
What are some of the most poignant lessons that you hope people can take from your book?
So some of them are about being authentic. And that means knowing when you don't know something and when you need help, and that it's okay to ask for help. So I think you both know that I was sick with cancer for 2 years. And up until then, I was very self-sufficient. I feel like that was a mantra my mother taught me. You have to be self-sufficient. She was a divorced single woman in her 60s and 70s. And she wanted me to be everything I wanted to be on my own. So self-sufficiency was the goal. And I became very self-sufficient. However, what I found is this is downside to being completely self-sufficient. If you don't need help with anything, you don't need other people. And then you miss out on all that joy. And when you ask somebody for help, like I'm sure you both, I know you both, I know you well enough, you would both help out any friend in need. And so would I. So when somebody asks you, it's a gift. You feel good about it. You feel like you've helped them. And then you feel that inside. So letting somebody help you is actually a gift. It's in Judaism, what we call a mitzvah, a good deed. And so when you try to be so self-sufficient, first of all, you have walls up and you don't let people close to you. I can do it. I can do it.
Yes.
And you deny your friends and the people that care about you the opportunity to help. And I learned that lesson the hard way when I literally couldn't do some things for myself. Like I literally couldn't pick things off the fork. I just moved into a new house when I got sick with chemo, and this woman at work kept saying, what can I do? What can I do? And I didn't want to cost anybody money. It's a school district. None of us are overly well paid. And I said, well, I do have some boxes in my garage that I can't leave in cardboard because they will rot. Like you can't leave cardboard in garage. And I said, I just need to transfer them into plastic bins. She goes, my daughter and I, that's what we do. We do organization. We'll be there on Saturday. And they helped me organize these boxes. And they were so happy that they were able to do something for me.
Yes.
And so I took that lesson from the illness that it's okay to ask for help. People want to help. You want to help. And so that creates community and closeness when people help each other out. And it's kind of a simple thing, but it eludes a lot of us, including me for many, many years.
Right.
No, it's a great picture that you provided there. I think so many people can relate to that, not wanting to, ask for help, feeling like they're a burden. But that perspective that you share, where it really feeds both parties, that joy, is a really great concept. And I don't think a lot of people consider that. So
And it's the same with mentoring. I always say mentoring is bi-directional. So I was mentoring a woman yesterday and we're just starting. So I said, look, I'm happy to help you. I love coaching and helping people that are moving ahead. She's young. She's in her mid-20s. And I said, but understand it's bi-directional. There are things that you can do and that you know that I need help for. She goes, oh, great,
all the
I'm
time.
in. So it's not charity. It's mutual, it's collaboration.
Yes.
And another lesson that I talk about is, no matter how much you love your job, there are tough days. There are hard days, and you have to persevere. And sometimes there's hard years, and sometimes there's difficult bosses. And in those times, at one of the Women in Tech conferences I spoke at, a lot of people came up and talked to me afterwards and wanted, what about this? What about that? And this one woman, she was of Indian descent, and she said, I can't be myself at work. I feel like I can't be my true self. What should I do? Then I said, well, leave. If you can't really be yourself and show up as you are, you should leave. She goes, but I'm on an H-1B visa. I can't. I said, well, then you stay and you listen, you learn, and you contribute. Every day, you make a difference and you add value, you build your skills, and you learn from it. And then when you can go, you're going to have that many more skills. So you stay there with a positive attitude and always a growth mindset.
Yes. I like that. Listen, learn, and contribute where you are, what you're doing right now, because it really does prepare you for that next space that you're going to be in.
There's always lessons. There's always things we can do to add value, and there's always things that we can do to learn. Could always be learning lessons.
Yeah.
And are you finding that companies are wanting their employees to know more about mentorship?
I would maybe put that back on you. I think people are looking for mentorship. I don't see more companies doing it formally. What do you all think?
Right. We kind of find our own and organically, but I would think that that is even better if you can find a mentor organically instead of, this is your mentor. And
I agree. I like the organic method. And then the other thing I do see, though, is resource groups, employee resource groups, ERGs, and you have women, you have different nationalities or different ethnic groups.
Right.
And so I do see those more than formal mentoring programs. So I think mentoring is fairly organic. But what we talk about on Women in Tech panels is often sponsorship. So mentorship is great. You get a coach, you get some, back and forth. But when you are sponsored, somebody, when you're not in the room, will say, yes, she can do it. And that's sponsorship. And actually, I think men are better at sponsoring women than women are. It's very interesting. We need men to be sponsors and mentors. We need to learn from men. We can't just say, oh, it's all about the women. And honestly, in my career, I've had more women throw me under the bus than men. Yes.
Yeah.
So I love women and I want to mentor them. I want to support them. But you also have to have, sleep with an eye open.
Right. Yeah. It's really funny because I've seen that too. I mean, when I look back on my career, it's always been men who have lifted me up or tapped. But it's also because going through my career, it has always been men in those leadership positions as opposed to women. But and there have been phenomenal women also. So that's not true. I've actually probably had equal amount, but if you're talking about people who might be not as giving or mentory, then I would say, sometimes it's the women. And I always wonder about that. And it could be possibly they're sharpening their elbows because maybe the perception is there aren't enough positions to go around. So I'm not sure what the reason is, but I think books like yours help to dispel any of that and really to, help each other.
I hope so. I don't let it bother me. I just it doesn't define me. I just keep going. There's enough good people out there and I just want to help others. And
yes,
it's fine.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Queen bee concept that women think that there's only room for so many women in the leadership roles. And I think that plays a part in it too, because we always haven't been at the table.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
That just make it difficult. Yes.
Very possible.
So if in companies we are seeing a lot of the organic type of mentorships, which I do see. And there are some companies that do some intentional ones, but I do see this book as being great, like a book study for
Yes.
company teams. Are you finding that some companies are leveraging it in that way?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've done several workshops where they'll buy the book for, the whole group of people, 50, 60, 100 people. And then, I'll take them through, I'll have a session with them and they'll
Oh,
ask questions. I'll tell them some of the stories. And it's just been really heartwarming. It's really been
that's
great. So yeah, that's a
phenomenal.
great opportunity. It's very much of it's the book I wish I had when I was in my 20s and 30s and I was trying to make sense and figure out my career and how do I do this and how do I show up and how do I balance children and career and how do I get my head straight. So it's really very encouraging for both men and women balancing career and family and all of the trials and tribulations of life.
And I think
They
you're
never
right.
end.
They'll never end. And I think that this is, just like you mentioned before, so timely because of the fact that people in their 20s and 30s, they only know the workforce post pandemic, right?
Yeah.
So it is that merging of work and personal. So I think it's harder maybe to find that balance or find where they should not or should cross over. So this book
Right.
really feels so timely and helpful with respect to that.
Right. 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 Now I'm finding a very strong place in for the book because women need support. Like I said, men enjoy it too. And, it goes through a lot of, original family challenges and then marital and career challenges. And then my personal, struggle with cancer. And at the end of the day, it's a positive story. I'm super happy. After I was healed. I met my soulmate. We're building our dream house together. And so it's been the best 5 years of my life. And like who knew,
Wow.
life would start at 55. So
That's
that is
amazing. So now you've also this year, so that came out last year, right? So it's been out a
like
year.
March of this year. No,
Oh,
was
March
March
this
of
year.
this year.
Okay. So March of this year. And then you've also contributed to other books. Is that right?
Yeah. So because I did that, my publisher recommended there's a wonderful woman. Her name is Lee, and she's doing this Slaying America series. And she's working with women that have great stories, not just technology, but all kinds of stories in major cities. So she's done, I think, Miami, Tampa, and I contributed to the Nashville because my lake house, our forever home, is in Tennessee, not far from Nashville, and the Georgia one because I've lived in Atlanta for a decade. So I'm bi-city, whatever it's called. And she's going around and doing these books throughout the country, and she's just pulling it together and wonderful. We've had two launches, a launch for each book, and just meeting the other women and hearing their stories of, how much they've overcome and what they've done to make a difference for others is just heartwarming. And the stories, once again, are inspirational. They're powerful, and you meet some wonderful other women through the process. So I've really enjoyed working with Lee and the women both in Nashville and Atlanta. And it's funny to see the different cultures and people come out in each city.
That's
Yes.
so cool. I love that. And I have a suggestion for someone in
Sure.
New Jersey who is slaying it here. So
Good.
I will recommend her. Yeah. Great.
Yeah, I'll connect you with her if you want. So yes,
Sure.
it's, slaying is about, it's very much what my book is. It's, overcoming whatever you have to. And, I moved to Atlanta not really knowing anyone. I went to networking events 4, 5, 6 times a week. And I am very much embedded in the technology community in Atlanta now. And that's, it's just been amazing when you get embedded in that community. And so I feel like I'm very much a part of the Atlanta tech community, and it's super helpful. I mean, one of the things I talk about in the book is network. We find our jobs through networking. We get our social and our community and our satisfaction. And if you're a CIO, your peers are your network. They're not the people at the company because you're the only one at the highest level that understands technology the way you do. And your direct reports are your direct reports, not your friends. So it really helps to be in CIO organizations in your community and network with them, because that gives you that, well, how did you handle this? And, security and AI and all these different topics. you're all doing the same things regardless of your industry. So I have found the network to be a true community, both in Tennessee as well as in Atlanta.
Yes. And you've
Good point.
leveraged social media too as a network.
Yes, I see you both on it all the time too. So I love LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my favorite social media platform because you learn so much.
Right.
It isn't just for job hunting. I'm not
Right.
job hunting, and I'm on it every day because I see
Right.
what's going on. I see what's going on with people. They get new jobs, or there's ideas and articles and quotes about AI, about security, about whatever is
Right.
happening in technology. Those are the feeds that I focus on. And I just love LinkedIn. I think it's a great way of continuing community, continuing connections. You and I, the three of us don't live near each other, but I feel like I see you almost every day
Connected.
because I
Yeah.
always see what you're posting.
Yeah.
And I
You-
love that. I love
Yeah.
what you're posting. I mean, and it's true with so many people. There's a woman I just talked to this morning who I haven't seen her probably in a decade, but we've spoken a few times and we're always on LinkedIn and, we trade ideas and information. So LinkedIn is a great way of meeting people and staying connected with people that you do know. I mean, we didn't have anything like that before. Like somebody just messaged me on LinkedIn that I worked with 15 years ago and said, "Oh, I really like the company you're working with. And there's this job opening. Can you, send my resume to HR?" That happens, very often, both at Microsoft and now at MGT. But it is a way of people staying connected throughout their careers.
It is. And that's a great segue. You have a new position now.
Yes, I do.
What are you doing now?
So I was the global CTO for education at Microsoft. And
Last time
as
you
you
were
all
on
know,
the
I've been in,
podcast, you were right.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been in EdTech for 15 years and I am just, you'll see that in my book. I'm very drawn and it's my purpose is to transform education. I believe that technology can really help us with that. And I also felt like I didn't think it was a product that was going to help our customers. It's more about people to people. And my roots are consulting. I've sold hardware and software and services, and I've done the consulting. And I really get a lot of joy and satisfaction from helping people solve problems, helping our customers. And products may be involved, but it's really about the people to people connection. And so this organization is just so unique and so amazing. When people say, well, why did you go from Microsoft to MGT? I'm like, yeah, it's people ask me that all the time. And MGT is the 50-year-old company that you haven't heard of because it was very small. The CEO bought it about 8 years ago, Trade Trevisia. And about 4 years ago, he started acquiring like companies. And there have been 11 acquisitions in 4 years.
Wow.
MGT just rebranded in August. And all of these original initial companies are now MGT. So the one that I knew the best was Layer 3 Communications. And they supported our network, our firewall, all of our communications, our switches, our WAPs, our LAN, everything in the district for the 6 years I was there. And when there was an issue, they were there. They are highest customer experience that I've ever experienced with a supplier. And I know them for 10 years. So I was asked to be on a blue ribbon panel just for non-compensation when I was still at Microsoft. And I was helping a school district overcome some challenges. And I just felt, this is what I want to do. This is really what I want to do is help school districts, help education get to the next level. And what I love about this company is there are two main portfolio groups. One of them is pure management consulting. Think about it as McKinsey for education. They do educational transformations, academic strategic plans, academic teaching and learning and academic side, and strategic planning and management consulting. Then the other side is all technology, and they do consulting and advising and architecting and managed services. And when I looked at my customers when I was at Microsoft, they needed that. They needed the plan. They needed the project management, help, the strategy. And then once it was in, they don't have the resources. Education doesn't have resources to staff security and monitoring 24/7. And we not only will staff it 24/7 around the clock, but we will fix it and give you a report in the morning. Not that you have to fix this, but that we fixed it. This is what we did. So we will do the whole recovery for you. And this is really taking a burden on those our customers that are attacked at such high rates. So I'm not trying to be an advertisement. These are just my whys and why I think this organization is amazing, and we are not stopping growing. So we've gone from a regional provision to national and even international. So our latest acquisition is Cicero. Many people know Cicero is a top 50 consulting firm focused on SLED, and they are international, and they're amazing. The talent in this organization is just second to none. I'm in awe. I'm learning a lot. I'm contributing a lot, and I'm super excited about it. So this is a place I feel like I can really make a difference, both for the organization and for our customers.
I mean, you're mentoring, basically. You're helping
Right.
people to get elevated and support them in, gaps that they have, needs that they have. So it seems like a perfect fit.
I would say it's very aligned with my values.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, that's exciting. That's so exciting. The growth of it is very exciting as well. So it must be
Yes.
exciting for you to,
Yes, we are growing fast. And like, for example, 2 years ago, it was about 300 people, and now we're over 1,000.
oh my gosh.
Wow. You are
Wow.
growing.
Yeah. And I think it's just going to keep growing by organically and through acquisition. And so I'm really proud of it. And I feel like we are really doing the right thing for our customers. And that's what's important. We're only, like, our slogan is impacting communities for good. And we really stay on that social impact. We work with the municipalities, the state, the local governments to help them provide better services. And of course, K-12 and higher ed. And we do some commercials or mid-sized. And the commercial helps us stay on the leading edge of technology. Public sector is the scale. I mean, there's school districts are the largest employee in a vicinity.
Right.
Municipalities serve everyone. So the scale of public sector and education is just so great. And that's what we're really good at.
It sounds like you have services for both large and small districts as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, Fulton, as you know, is like 100,000 students, and they supported us for, that was actually Layer 3's the original company's first customer and largest. So, yeah, large districts. We help LAUSD and New York City and Fulton, but we also do medium and small size districts too. And what's great about the medium and small is that they can't necessarily have a CISO. We can be the CISO. They can't even necessarily have a CIO. We can do that. We can offload this talent, and because it's like a fractional, so we can handle, all of the districts in a vicinity, and you don't have to have that formal consortium, or the consortium can buy from us and we can provide those services. So we have both the intellectual resources as well as the platforms to help.
I came from a small district when I was a superintendent,
Right.
and I realized the importance and value of this because many times the superintendent and leadership, they're playing many roles and they don't have the knowledge and areas.
But technology is so specific. You can't just be an educator and then know how to run a network, right? So you need somebody to help you do that.
Yes.
And the other thing is that, headcount is so scarce to begin with. You want to put your headcount in teaching and learning, not in technology. That's not your primary business.
right.
And if you do have a headcount, if you say, oh, no, we'll build our own security operations. Well, you're not just paying them your salary. You're paying them for life with the pension. Is that so wouldn't it be better to just pay somebody who's really good at doing this, especially with security, when they're seeing all the threats across all the districts as opposed to just yours? So they're not surprised when something happens, and they know how to fix it. They know how to repair it. And one of the things that I'm speaking from personal experience, because we had a mixture of different brands of things, MGT and Layer 3, they'll work on equipment that they didn't sell you. It doesn't have to be brands that they sold you. So whatever on your network, whatever you have, they can manage. They know all the configurations, and they can fine tune it. They can, help in so many different ways. So it's just, all of the engineering talent and then the management consulting talent. So it's just a joy to work with this group. And the CEO is just amazing. And of course, my boss, Rodney Turner, who hired me, he's the president of Layer 3. Super happy to be working with.
It's
He's
wonderful.
best. So
Yes. Well, it is so good to hear all of the great things that have happened to you in this last year. It's
been a busy one.
busy one. But it also goes to show when you are defining yourself and writing your own story to go and where that takes you. And it sounds like you're living in your values and your beliefs and moving forward in that direction. And it's wonderful to see women doing that we can all look to and hope to go that direction as well. So,
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I really hope we get to see each other in person soon. I miss you both and appreciate you both.
oh, yes, we miss you. But one more thing, where can we find the book?
It's on Amazon. So
Good.
it's just Serena Sacks-Mandel. And then I do have a website with very bare bones, but it's .com.
Okay. Right.
Perfect. We'll have that in the show notes as well.
Okay. And LinkedIn is my favorite social media. People want to contact me.
Find you there.
Good. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Serena. We appreciate you coming back. I was really looking forward to this, so appreciate
Same.
you.
You. Appreciate you too. Have a great afternoon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. And if you would like to stay linked up, be sure to follow us on Apple and Spotify and subscribe to us on YouTube.